What's going on YouTube? Masex back with another video. Man, oh man, a lot changes in a year. I mean, this time early August of last year, Jonathan Taylor was coming off of a monster sophomore campaign in which he scored 20 touchdowns, over 2,100 total yards. And then the 2022 season happened. Pretty bad all the way around. The efficiency metrics weren't there. He gets injured. He's hampered by injury all year. Even from a team perspective, our offensive line wasn't very good. And as a whole, our team output was horrible. Collectively, it was pretty bad. We even lost 7 straight games to finish the season. Now, the offseason started off pretty solid, but there was optimism for what many experts called a very good draft. And that also included drafting hopeful franchise quarterback Anthony Richardson with the 4th pick overall in this year's draft. Things were starting to look on the up and up. And I thought, honestly, the Colts were ready to put 2022 in the past and look forward to the 23 season. As we see this summer, a lot of rumblings about Jonathan Taylor and the contract situation. That did make me realize a few weeks ago that Jonathan Taylor is in the final year of his rookie deal. One thing a lot of people have to remember is he wasn't a first-round pick, so there is no 5th-year team option. Now, outside of the Colts situation, you guys have heard all off-season, even starting with Austin Eckler all the way down to Josh Jacobs and Saquon Barkley. We've all seen that clearly the NFL has devalued the running back position, and it's not this year. It's been progressive for a very long time. I'm always rooting for the running backs. I want them to get what they deserve. Obviously, outside of the quarterback position, running backs touch the ball the second most. And I'll admit it's very disappointing and very frustrating to be witnessing what I'm seeing and how the running backs are treated. Now back to the Colts, it was reported this past Saturday, July 29th, that the Colts owner Jim Irsay and Jonathan Taylor did meet. Now, what specifics they spoke about, I'm not exactly sure, but things didn't go as planned. Long story short, at the conclusion of the meeting, Jonathan Taylor requested a trade. Now, for obvious reasons, this made headwaves. Jonathan Taylor, like I said, this time last year was many people's top running back in the league. If you play fantasy, more times than not, he was going at the 1-1. People thought he was going to be that next great running back, and I still feel he is. Jim Irsay, who also is no stranger to social media, did so as well. Now, Jonathan Taylor has gone on his little ride and made subliminal messages and posts on Twitter and other social media platforms, and Jim Irsay did not hold back. Now, according to James Boyd of The Athletic, Jim Irsay said the following: "If I die tonight and Jonathan Taylor is out of the league, no one's going to miss us. The league goes on. We know that. The National Football League rolls on. Now, not October." Now, those were some strong but yet bizarre choice of words for Jim Irsay. And I'll admit, he's no stranger to bizarre. Also, I feel that that's just adding gasoline to the fire, and that's not going to better the relationship. Honestly, that's going to make things worse. Now, I'm not saying Irsay should get on 2 knees and bow down to Jonathan Taylor like you see NBA owners and GMs do, but I do feel that a better understanding. As I mentioned earlier with the running back debate, it's pretty rough for running backs right now, and running backs as a whole have no leverage. Now, I can see both sides of the argument, because if you're Jonathan Taylor, he sees that the Colts, there's a good chance, even though the team itself has some optimism going into this season, there's still a really good chance that we're not going to be a playoff team. We may be pretty poor, even offensively. And with that said, the offense is going to ride the heels of Jonathan Taylor, where he may touch the ball 320, 350 times, really wearing and tearing on his body. And he says, hey, I need that security now because I know most likely how I'm going to be utilized. And he's seen in the past how running backs have been utilized during their rookie contracts, and then when it's time to get that second contract, off to the next one goes the organization. So he wants that security now. Jim Irsay, from a business perspective, one, Jonathan Taylor, your contract does not conclude until next year. Let's revisit this in January, February. I'm not going to talk about it right now when you still have this season to play with. We all know running backs are devalued. Owners have a lot of leverage. I'm not going to talk with you because I don't have to, frankly. You're going to play out this contract, and then I'm not going to tell you, but most likely I'm not going to sign you long term. I'm just going to franchise you next year, which will probably be around $10 million. And then if I want to, I can franchise you the next year, just based on the CBA agreement back in 2020. There's 2 franchise tags. And then at that point, 26, 27, I can get rid of you and draft another running back. And Jonathan Taylor, I'm pretty sure he and his camp knows he truly has no leverage in this situation. I mean, if he sits out, that's $50,000 a day. That's not in his best financial interest. That collective bargaining agreement actually doesn't allow what I call the Le'Veon Bell rule that he pulled back in 2018 with the Steelers. You can't just sit out. That actually will not count towards a year. It's just going to automatically forward to the next season. So he has no leverage in sitting out as well. Now, Colts are reportedly considering placing Jonathan Taylor on the NFI, also called the non-football injury list. Taylor, and I'll use the word allegedly, injured his back while working out in Arizona with trainers. And then he is also rehabbing from ankle surgery back in January of this year. Now, if he's on this list, the reason why this is a big deal, if the Colts choose to do this, is because next year in free agency, he'd be listed as a restricted free agent instead of an unrestricted free agent. Now, Jonathan Taylor took to Twitter in regards to the back injury and stated what he had to say, calling the Colts a liar, or the media a liar, but somebody's lying here. Now, from what I also hear, Jim Irsay hasn't even exchanged any in-depth conversation regarding Jonathan Taylor's contract. He's not even going to go into any numbers until after this season, which I'm sure probably really pissed off Jonathan Taylor. If we're being honest, you're trying to talk to somebody and they're refusing to talk to you, that would piss me off. So the trade request may have been more emotional than logical if he really sits back with his camp and thinks about it. Now, I'll say this is a very unfortunate situation. Jonathan Taylor, hands down, is the best player on our team, and we've seen that throughout the league, where the running backs, if not the best, one of the best players on the team, but they're not getting paid like it. And the owners aren't paying them because they don't have to. It's really unfortunate, especially being an Indy guy, a hometown guy. I stay about 15 minutes from Lucas Oil Stadium, and I'm a big-time Colts fan. This isn't the funnest news to hear, so I hope that this doesn't blow up any worse or any crazy things happen. But hey, let me hear your guys' opinion in the comments section. Should Irsay begin to talk to Jonathan Taylor, or at least start the discussions, maybe look at some numbers? Is management doing the right thing and not pursuing any contract talks until they need to and playing the leverage game? I know I've heard both sides of the story from social media. There have been some running backs in the past that have kind of screwed it up for running backs now. But hey, when it's a superstar, elite talent like Jonathan Taylor, I think you got to do what you got to do at the end of the day. But like I said, I want to hear your guys' opinions. Are the running backs getting the short end of the stick? Let me know in the comments below. If you haven't already, be sure to like and subscribe for more content. I'll see y'all in the next video. Cheers.